In early 20th century Texas, the ballot box was locked for a massive portion of the population. State politicians relied on a specific tactic to keep it that way, a system known as the white primary. State lawmakers delegated the authority to run primary elections to the Texas Democratic Party. Because the party was technically a private organization, they claimed they had the legal right to set their own membership rules, and they wrote those rules to exclude non-white citizens. The Democratic Party dominated Texas politics at the time. Winning their primary effectively decided the general election. Being barred from this primary meant having no voice in the state government. A local party rule acted as a systemic lock on state power. This tactic was challenged in 1935 in a Supreme Court case called Grovey v. Townsend. The 9 justices unanimously upheld the practice, ruling that discrimination by a private political party was legal. Yet 9 years later, in 1944, the exact same institution struck down the white primary forever. In Smith v. Allwright, the court flipped to an 8-1 decision. The justices didn't cite a change in the facts of the case or a new situation on the ground. They declared their previous, unanimous decision to be incorrect. How does the highest court in the land reverse a unanimous ruling in under a decade without a single change in the legal facts? The 1944 challenge was brought by Lonnie Smith, a black dentist from Houston. He was represented by civil rights attorney Thurgood Marshall, who brought a precise strategy to the state of Texas. Marshall argued the state was circumventing the 14th Amendment. By outsourcing election authority to a private group, Texas found a loophole for discrimination. The court agreed, ruling the universal right to vote applied to all elections, including primaries, and could not be restricted by race. Marshall's argument was legally identical to the one the Supreme Court rejected 9 years earlier. The catalyst for this reversal wasn't found in the courtroom. Between 1935 and 1944, the United States entered the Second World War. That global conflict forced a cultural reckoning back home. America was fighting a fascist regime built on the concept of Aryan racial supremacy. The nation framed itself as the defender of democracy and freedom. The hypocrisy of Black Americans dying overseas for those ideals, while facing racist voting barriers at home, became impossible to ignore. The legal facts of the Supreme Court case hadn't changed. The American conscience had, rendering the 1935 legal precedent culturally obsolete. This chart shows the immediate impact of that shift on Black voter registration in the Deep South. In 1940, 3% of eligible Black voters were registered, about 200,000 people. By 1952, that number was over 1 million. This surge happened because lower courts were tired of states trying to bypass the 14th Amendment. Empowered by the Smith decision, local judges applied the ruling to strike down regional voter suppression laws. Historians view this ruling as the start of a second Reconstruction. Marshall himself noted that it had a faster, larger, immediate impact on citizenship than the much more famous Brown v. Board of Education. Smith v. Allwright operated as a structural battering ram. By guaranteeing a voice at the ballot box, it made the subsequent civil rights advancements of the following decades possible. There is a dark caveat to relying on the cultural climate for justice. The exact same wartime pressure that broke the white primary was weaponized by the exact same court in Korematsu v. United States, a ruling that upheld the internment of Japanese Americans. Even for Black Americans, the Smith decision did not instantly erase discrimination. Millions remained unregistered in the South, facing systemic obstacles and violent opposition for decades to come.